Hi, good morning. Happy Sunday to all of my wonderful practice members and practice friends, those of you who may not be practice members just yet. As many of you have noticed over the last week or so, we've been talking about changes a coming. We added another table into the adjusting area, and you can expect that to increase more to at least 4 tables soon, and then eventually even maybe 6 tables. And you might be wondering how we're going to do that. Well, we're trying to figure that out right now. Now, there's a really big story behind all this change, and that's really what I want to focus on today. And I want you to be nervous that things are going to change, because I'm the same Dr. Nicole with the same passion for healing that I've always had. And my number one priority is to make sure that you're getting the highest quality of care and the best care that I can possibly provide to you and your family. So I want to take you back to 1994, 93, 94, sometime in there, probably closer to 94, when I was in chiropractic school. Many of you know my story, but for those of you that don't, at that point in time, I had entered chiropractic school without having ever been to a chiropractor. My only experience with chiropractic was sitting in the reception or waiting area, waiting for my dad, who had been in a car accident, to go and have traction on his spine for pain. So, like many people think, I thought that chiropractic was for back pain, neck pain, and things like that. And as a young child, I actually had a lot of health problems. So looking back, it was really is kind of disappointing that that chiropractor at the time, and I know your name, I remember your name on those crooked pens, never once suggested having my father's family checked. And it's disappointing because of the health problems that I'm going to talk to you about now. So from the time that I was a baby, I had allergies, ear infections, excuse me, and a slew of health problems requiring antibiotics. I had been on Sudafed and Dimetap and different medications. Unfortunately, we had no knowledge, and my mother still has no idea really how I got out of her. She was under the influence of what's called twilight, which means they kind of knock you out and then somehow the baby gets out. So we don't know what kind of interventions were used, because she played no role in getting me out into this world. So just like we try to educate you, there's a really good chance that I became subluxated from birth. Subluxation meaning having nerve interference from spinal misalignment, creating stress in my body, and my body then not functioning as it should. In this case, it was the immune system, and then I didn't have the advantage of being breastfed, and my body completely rejected all the formulas, which is really actually kind of a natural thing for the body to do, is to reject some artificial substance that I was being fed, and instead of deriving nutrient from it, because it's not a natural, real product from nature. And so further along that, about kindergarten, I then finally was told there's too much fluid in the ears. I had so many ear infections, and I was having trouble hearing from the fluid in my ears. So they opted for the surgery that cuts a hole in the ear drum and then inserts a tube to drain the excess fluid into this tiny little tube. And I went through my birthday / holiday break in December from school to be in the hospital to do that. Repeated it again in first grade, same time of the year, same thing over my birthday and Christmas break. And the first time my body rejected it, so they did it again. And this time we solved the problem. We got rid of the symptom. And so now, never dealing with the subluxation, never dealing with the cause, maybe the nutrient aspect of it or anything else at this point. Eventually, I developed allergies. Basically, I was allergic to the grass, the moon, the stars, and the sky, and everything else you can think of that's pretty much unavoidable in life, pollen and so on. So we started with the allergy shots, and each arm every Friday from second grade till the time I went away to college. Even while I was at summer camp, I received these allergy shots, which did absolutely nothing to help me in any way, to be able to deal with the grass and the stars and the moon and everything else. So without having ever dealt with any of the causes, by the time I was in sixth grade, I was diagnosed with asthma and went on my first asthma medication. By the time I went off to college, I had spent years and years and hours and hours and hours of my life sitting in the pediatrician's office, sitting in the allergist's office, and I wanted to become a pediatrician and to help children just as I had been helped, which is pretty much a joke to me because I was not being helped. Instead, I was living in a false sense of security of health, which means I was on a giant container full of medications with little columns in it and slots with different pills in it, because all day long I had to pop pills to survive, and that is not health to me. And I would have to inhale steroids twice a day. And even this being under control, the asthma, I had an emergency inhaler in my back pocket wherever I went. It even had a nickname, which my college friends are familiar with, because it was just part of my identity at that point in my life. And I just didn't know any other way, any other options. And the one thing I did have going for me is I was interested in nutrition and diet. It was mostly because I was always trying to lose weight. I was very toxic. I was holding a lot of this toxicity in my body, and steroids really just, they're not very helpful in the weight area. And so at this point in my life, I was taking 2 medications for asthma. Those were the inhalers, 2 pills for asthma. Seldane was an allergy pill that was taken off the market because it caused too many heart attacks. I was on Midol. I had horrible menstrual cycles. Every single month for one entire day, I was laid out in pain, back pain, leg pain, cramping, just to have my monthly cycle, which is not normal. And my skin was really unhealthy because I was very toxic from the foods I was eating, from the medications I was taking, from the subluxations that I had. But I was also into working out. I was into exercise. Again, the weight thing was always what was driving me and motivating me. But those were the things that led me to this place. So I am grateful for that, because when I was in my senior year of college, after having gone through the whole entire pre-med program and being ready to take the MCATs, excuse me, which are the medical entrance exams to get into medical school, I decided, after not liking my volunteer jobs in the hospital or as an EMT or anything about that environment, it was just a really big turnoff to me. For whatever reason, it just felt very negative. And it was like a downer. Every time I went to go to my volunteer jobs, I was dreading it. And eventually I started calling in sick and making up excuses. And I just took a hard look, and I am so grateful that I listened to that, in my gut, my innate, because it told me this is not your path. Forget it. And this was something I thought I was going to do my entire life. My family encouraged it, and it was a big step in deciding not to go to medical school. And at that point, I was pretty much lost. And a friend of mine went home for the holiday break in college, our senior year, and came back with a brochure for Life College of Chiropractic in Marietta, Georgia. And she said, look at this. I'm kind of lost too. Sounds really interesting, doesn't it? And I read it, and I really didn't even understand chiropractic. I really thought it was about being a back doctor. But I did see some key things that enticed me, which were nutrition and sports health science, because I was into those things, even though I really had no really good knowledge at that point, but it interested me, and it is what guided me into chiropractic school. So when I was in chiropractic school, I was really uncertain because it was so foreign, the whole idea that the body was made to be perfect, to do everything that it needs for you, to maintain itself, to self-adapt, to self-heal, and that it contains every possible pharmaceutical right inside of it, and that we weren't left masterless, that there is a beautiful life force inside, this innate wisdom or innate intelligence that is keeping you alive, that is adapting you to your environment and to stress and to life. And it was really difficult for me to grasp. And I was kind of uncertain about what I would do with this information, or if I would even make it through chiropractic school. And what happened at that time was I was rear-ended. And a friend of mine said, "Hey, there's this doctor down in Virginia Highlands, and he's a chiropractor, but he practices this different technique called network spinal analysis." And I had been getting regular adjustments from students pretty much up to that point. And he's like, "Come with me, let's go." And so we went down. It was about a half hour, 25-minute drive, and I left there feeling rejuvenated and relieved and just something different. And I continued going back to this chiropractor, and it was a very different technique because I was laying on the table for an upwards of 20 to 30 minutes sometimes. Sometimes it was only 15 minutes, but it did take longer because he would do something and then he would allow my body to process, and then he would recheck, and then he would do something else and allow my body to process what he did, and so on. And within 2 weeks of getting this network spinal analysis technique, I started to see really amazing things. I had an incredible experience on the table that is kind of personal. I'm not going to go into that right now, but it was a huge grief relief, let's put it that way. And I released quite an abundant amount of emotion in relating to a loss that I had in my family. And from that point on, my life was never the same. And it was happened so quickly. And through network care, not only did I transform physically, because within a month, my periods were normal. Within a few months, I wasn't getting headaches anymore, and so on. And I not only transformed physically, but I transformed emotionally. And which to me was the most important thing, I transformed spiritually even, because I had absolutely no opinion or care about anything spiritual. I had a Jewish and have a Jewish background. That's my heritage. And but I didn't feel that I was connected spiritually to anything at that point, nor did I think about that or care or think there was something greater in any way. And it really made me take a hard look at my entire life. And I really grew a lot, and I received that care all through chiropractic school. And within a year of graduating, I was off all of the medications. It took about 5 years for everything to happen. But I really feel that it was it was my network care and some of the other things that I implemented, like detoxification over the years and resetting my body back to wholeness, and then I really reclaimed my health. So when I got out into practice, I first did an internship for an amazing chiropractor who had very high volume practice. She taught me a lot. She kind of lit that fire and removed the fear. And I went right into practice, and it didn't work. Nothing worked for me. I tried her way. It didn't quite work for me. So I found some other coaches and people that helped me, and I got started. And within a month, I was up and running my practice. I was helping people and seeing people. And in the model that I had created for the practice, the network care didn't really fit into that model because it did require more time. It required more tables. I only had 2 tables. I've always only had the 2 tables that I would go back and forth to. And it slowly just disappeared. And I basically stopped using it in my practice. I barely had started. And through that as well, I never really found a network chiropractor down here in Florida, and I still had great chiropractic care. However, over the last 18, 19 years, I've gone through quite a few health related things, and most were injury related. And however, I just wasn't feeling satisfied after in the last year. I just kept having this feeling there was just something missing. And over the years, I had thoughts of ripping all the walls down and lining up a bunch of tables and converting my practice over to a network practice. And I just never had the guts to do it. And finally, because it was too much change, I couldn't even handle it. So finally, about 6 months ago, I had met somebody a couple of times and it came up in a few seminars I had gone to, and it just started stirring this feeling in me that I should go receive network care, that I was missing something in my care for myself. And so I started going down to Fort Lauderdale to Barry Weinberg. He's a great chiropractor, and I'm so grateful for him. He really re-inspired me. And yes, so I've been driving 45 minutes to an hour each way for the last 6 months, sometimes twice a week. I think the first week I might have gotten down there 3 times. It seemed impossible, but it was important to me, and I made the commitment, and now I'm going about once a week. And so I know if I can do it, you can do it with my busy schedule. Everybody's busy, but it is a priority for me to always put my health first. So hopefully I'm a good example to you. And so I began driving down there, and he did an exam on me, and I had noticed myself that my posture wasn't ideal. I was noticing that my shoulder was higher and one hip was higher. And I was noticing in the gym there was a mirror, and I'm like, what is going on here? And I was really starting to get concerned because I do work on other people, and I can be creating some imbalances with my own spine the way that I'm doing that, always on one side of the table and different things like that. And but anyhow, within 3 months, I really had gone through another level of transformation where some things that had been popping up for me regularly, if I wasn't constantly adjusted, were resurfacing quickly, and they weren't totally, I didn't feel like I was truly healed. And I really didn't want to go back to where I was, because that was the set of conditions that created some of these things for me. I wanted to go past that and beyond that into full out, all out, amazing healing, and have total reorganization of my body and my nervous system. And quickly I noticed that my posture had changed, and I was not seeing these repetitive patterns occurring that I was seeing before, that I often see in my practice. And so it really started to make me feel like I wasn't giving all that I could give to you in practice, because I want to be in 100% integrity at all times. When I put my hands on you, I want to know that I have certainty, confidence, love, and total, utter certainty that I'm giving you what you need to be at your amazing best, to heal, to rid yourself of medications and all these things, just like I did. And so I started to realize that I needed to bring network care into the practice, and I had no idea how I was going to do it. And I was totally out of practice because I haven't done it in 20 years, 18 years. And so I went to a seminar at the end of July, and I got refreshed, and I realized I'm going to have to be really doing this a lot more, and the table situation's not going to work, and the hours aren't going to work because everyone's going to get backed up on the tables because I need more time with them. And I would work on someone, and then people would come in, and I would feel rushed, and I never want to rush with you. I always want to feel like I always did. I never felt like I had to rush before, and I never want to feel like that. I always want to feel like I'm giving you 100% intention and everything I can give you in those moments that I'm working on you. And so as an office, Teresa and Jackie and I started having conversations of what we can do, and we realized the first thing we need to do is start working on the hours. And so you're going to see in this next week, we're going to start asking you to try to pick a time slot that you prefer. Right now, we've just added one table, so we do have 3 tables. And currently, I would love to keep the middle table just for the network people. However, I think after you hear this video, I really feel that you're going to understand why I need to do this. And it isn't to be a pain in the butt to you. It isn't to try to change and make things difficult. This is so that I can give you my very best, and all that I can give you, because I know that if I don't at least give you the opportunity to have this technique, this work done on you, then I just don't feel right with that. And so the hours are going to change a little bit. They're going to lengthen the chunks of time that we see people for adjustments, which is actually will be more called an entrainment, because you're training the nervous system in a totally different way. And I'll get into that in a little bit. It doesn't mean I'm not going to do what I used to do. Most of you that I've been working on, I've been adding network to what I already was doing with the regular adjustments that you've been receiving. I'm just doing network first and then the regular adjustments afterwards. But I would love to see everybody transition over to more of network-based care, because I want to see you progress through the different levels of care that take you into this amazing awakening of your nervous system and your life. And so we're going to ask for you to try to pick a time. The slots are going to be 15 minutes long, and we'll be able to fit 3 people in a slot until further notice when we get more tables. So just bear with us through these changes, because these changes are not for us. These changes are for you. I could have just continued going to see Dr. Barry down in Fort Lauderdale without you ever knowing, and I could have been at my best leaving you in the dust and to not get the best out of your care. And I could have made it easy and not had these changes and continued with your couple-minute adjustments and seeing you quickly. But I just don't feel like that's the right thing to do anymore, because I just see such a profound change in my own health, in my own life. In my life is better. It's not just my health. My whole life is better, and it keeps getting better through this care. And so I just want to read you a little something about the care. Network spinal analysis care is an evidence-based approach to wellness and body awareness. Gentle, precise touch to the spinal cues to the spine, cues the brain. Sorry, let's start that line over. Gentle, precise touch to the spine cues the brain to create new wellness-promoting strategies. 2 unique healing waves develop that are associated with spontaneous release of spine and life tension. And the use of this existing tension is for fuel to reorganize and enhance your wellness. Practitioners combine clinical assessments of spinal refinements with the practice members' self-assessments of wellness and change. Greater self-awareness and conscious awakening of the relationship between the body, mind, emotion, and expression of the human spirit are realized through this popular healing work. And there are quite a few people that talk about this work. One of them is Tony Robbins. He's a huge fan. It's like nothing, no other type of adjustment or entrainment, whatever, that he's ever seen or felt or experienced. And here are some of the new strategies that network spinal analysis helps to create. Adapt to stress, experience the world, dissipate tension from your spine and your nerves, connect with your body's natural rhythms, experience greater well-being, which allows you to make greater, healthier choices. So you're stuck, you won't know you need to work out, but you're not going to work out. Well, that's because you're still in a sickness mentality. I'm looking for you to get into a wellness mentality where you know it's just part of life to exercise. It's just normal to eat healthy. It's not a chore. You wouldn't have it any other way. To create more self-correcting, self-reliant, magical spines. Wouldn't it be great that your spine could self-adapt better? I mean, instead of you having to constantly rely on me for putting in that force to make change, your body has its own strategies to adapt itself. I just think that's incredible. And develop these network waves, which are psychosomatic and respiratory healing waves. And you can go to wiseworldseminars.com if you want to see some videos. I'll try to include on one of the videos that shows the wave. Gigi's going to be barking now. So that's it. I just wanted to help you to be aware. My kids are coming home. It's going to get loud and noisy here. Please send me your feedback after you see this video. I would love to hear what you have to say. When you come in this week, Jackie and Teresa are going to be trying to help you to create a time slot for yourself. We're going to still be flexible. We're still going to have open times. You can change it last minute if you need to. We're just going to try to get you at a slot so that this is better for you. It's going to be better for us, better for you, better all around. And I'm so excited to see the amazing changes that are in store for you and for your family. And I couldn't be more grateful. And I know it's absolute 100% of me. This is the way we need to be moving. This is the direction. And I love you. I'm with you. And I can't wait to start working on you. And you can totally be honest with me. If you want to just keep things the way they are, then you'll keep things the way they are. But I would love for you to have at least the opportunity to try this new technique out. So have an amazing Sunday, and I'll talk to you soon. See you Monday.